Don't go to leasing. You're never going to make any money. Got to come to the sales floor. And for me, it was sort of like, well, let me sort of prove you wrong. My mindset was like, this is my new career. It's going to work. There's no chance I'm quitting. Managed to get a couple of tenants straight away, then managed to close a couple of deals in my first month. Then I was like, became best newcomer. And then from that to become number one, break the record and beat it. By the point of 3.5 years, I thought, right, well, now is the sort of time to go. I moved over to the sales team.
Matthew MacLoughlin.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And
A lot of bits of a roller coaster. Without failure, you're never going to get success.
Thank you for having us in your gorgeous home.
and they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there.
We're in the best region in the world. There's enough business out there. There's enough opportunity. I look back on it fondly and got any amount of contacts and network purely because of leasing, you know.
Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands.
If I can do it, you know, anyone else can.
You've had a phenomenal career. What is next for you? Welcome back to the path to real estate success with Espace Real Estate, and I am delighted to welcome to the show Matthew MacLoughlin. Welcome to the show, Matty.
How are you? Nice to see you, Soph. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for having us in your gorgeous home. Matty, I am super excited about this conversation today, particularly because so many people say that leasing is the best route into this industry, and someone who followed that path. Do you agree?
Well, I completely agree. I can't talk on everyone's experience. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a tough game to get into, but it's been the foundation for everything for me. Any bit of so-called success is all down to those sort of 3.5 hard years spent
3.5 years in leasing.
3.5 years in leasing, and then obviously moved over to the sales team. Is a great way to learn about the industry, great way to learn about the city. A lot of people new to the city. There's a lot of different approaches, a lot of different egos. You have to learn quite quickly, quite fast. And like I say, I mean, it's been it seems so long ago now that I was in leasing, but yeah, I look back on it fondly, and like still to this day, I've got any amount of contacts and network that has all been purely because of leasing, you know.
You were top performing broker in leasing, and then you transitioned into a managerial role in that department. Can you tell us what did that look like?
When I started the company, it was interesting because a lot of people from the sales floor says, oh, don't go to leasing. You're never going to make any money. Got to come to the sales floor. And for me, it was sort of like, right, well, let me sort of prove you wrong. There was a bit of a drive, a little bit of ambition. And of course, I knew that there was no possibility that you couldn't make money because obviously there was a department there. When I started, I just sort of understood. I mean, obviously I'd had a background of being self-employed in the UK, so I understood what was needed. It was a little bit different back then in the training, also sort of just thrown into the deep end, which I quite liked. It was sort of sink or swim. And, you know, managed to get a couple of tenants straight away that were looking, that were eager, that were motivated, then managed to close a couple of deals in my first month. From there, escalated into a great trajectory. The first 6 months was then, I was like, became best newcomer. And then the ambition was then to become number one, which I did. And then from that, break the record and beat it. And then the sort of the managerial thing, I was never, ever thinking about. It just sort of unfolded and happened. And again, I was never sort of being driven by job titles or anything. I think anybody, if you just concentrate on yourself, that will all take care of itself. But the manager, I mean, I love being a broker, I still do, but the managerial thing was
something new for you.
Was a new thing, and it was something that I had to learn. Again, from being self-employed, I'd had staff, so I knew that. But again, this was a different skill set where you almost become like a counsellor to a lot of people, and there's a lot of external emotion that you have to deal with either other people's tenants, landlords, buyer, seller, colleagues, you know, dealing with their emotions at times, which was a challenge, but it was great. And again, it put me in a great position. Being a broker would probably be more financially rewarding than the management role for sure. And any broker will tell you that. I mean, obviously I was doing a sort of dual role. So I was still heavily leasing, which I loved. And then, of course, managing and hopefully helping the team get to what was needed. We obviously had certain criteria and target that we had to try and hit every month. But again, I think like with any job, you know, or completing a task, there's a sense of achievement. There was always that sense of reward. So I think that was always that. And as well, like the tenants or the buyers and vice versa, seller and landlords, it's a big journey for them, and obviously it's there's a lot of emotion there. So obviously you are like I say, a bit of a sponge with them, you know. So and I've been through it here. We've obviously purchased this place. It was great that I did go through it because I really felt the heartache. So I'm in such a better position now to learn, and there is a lot to do. So you can obviously manage that, and then seeing somebody so happy that they've got the dream home, and that is their family home. So there's a lot of things connected to it. So yeah, I'd say those are the rewarding things, the other side of it, other than money.
So from your three and a half years in leasing, your phone book must be full with contacts of landlords, investors. Do you think that gives you an edge now that you're in sales?
100%. Without that, there's no way I would have had the trajectory I've had in sales, for sure. Even, last week or this week as we speak, I'm trying to get something closed where an old tenant of mine is actually buying the house that we put him in. I put him on property management.
Okay.
So there's a great relationship there. At the start of January, I met an old seller of mine. I had to go with DLD with him. Yeah. And it was no benefit to me, but it was a relationship, and he guided me and he needed advice, and I wanted to trust in other things that we'll do. And there's other sellers or owners that will be in touch, asking me for advice on other purchases, because I'll always be as transparent as I can. A lot of, obviously, the great thing is the sort of domino effect where the tenants have become buyers, the buyers have then, become sellers, and then votes on. So it's all linked, and it's great. And for sure, without it, there's no way I could have been as successful. And it was a great starting point where I wasn't starting from scratch.
Okay, amazing. As someone that has excelled in leasing and now in sales, associate director, how do the two compare?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, listen, a lot of it is the same. Obviously, you've got to approach it, and a lot of people do the basics or have to do the basics well. And then sometimes, obviously, as you progress, your time changes. And in the early days, you're on the hunt for properties, for buyers, sellers, landlords, tenants, etc. Obviously, now I get more people who have been referrals or people think, but I still every week have the same plan, or I know my tasks are on Sunday night and know what my plan is. And it will change. And every morning I have a list, and the list doesn't really go down, but it changes. And there's a bit of accountability there, a bit of structure. Leasing, for sure, there's a lot more sort of emotion, a lot more highs and lows. And I taught myself not to get too emotionally invested, because as well, you could work so hard to get a listing. Within 24 hours, that listing could be rented and gone, and you've got to go again. So it was almost sort of treating my mindset to right, next point, the next shot, and you forget about it because you can't dwell on it. And it's the same with sales. I mean, sales is different, where you could go on a journey for 6 to 9 months with a buyer. The same with a seller, if the price is maybe a little bit ambitious, a little aggressive. But yeah, they're the main things. I mean, of course, the rewards, I guess, financially is completely different. That's part of the progression, and obviously, you can't just come here and turn up and think that you're gonna make it. You know what I mean? You have to go through that hard yards, and it's like I said to you earlier, like it's a foundation. It's just like you can't build a house without building or putting in the foundation, and that's the most important part of it. Did
you ever have a moment in your leasing days that you thought, I have to give up, it's too hard?
My mindset was like, this is my new career, it's going to work, there's no chance I'm quitting. And of course, like I said to you, like there was a lot of things that went wrong, there was a lot of things, but that's where you find out about yourself, and you find out that, right, I am going to make a success of this. The market was different back then as well, like I was saying to you earlier, like the leasing division, I guess the fees were a lot smaller, but there was a lot of activity as well. And at that point as well, I was actually making a little bit more money than most of the sales floor. And that's not me sort of trying to brag or boast. It was just the reality that the market was different then. So I never felt that urge. Of course, everything has a shelf life. By the point of the 3.5 years, I thought, right, well, now's the sort of time to go across.
Transition over. So, Maddie, you are one of the top brokers at Espace. What do you think you do maybe day in and day out that makes you succeed?
Well, I can't give away all my secrets. But I'm definitely a creature of habit. Yeah. I like structure.
You do the basics.
I like basics. And I like to be in the office early. I like to get my list wrote. I like to get my coffee. Sometimes when I go and do viewings or appointments in the morning, I come into the office, I'm a little bit flustered. It takes me a bit of time because I'm out of my usual sort of scenario of what I like to do. But yeah, it's having a plan, and obviously even more so since we've become sort of management, and where I'm obviously, overseeing other people as well. You have to have that structure. Like you have to turn up to the office already knowing what you're going to do. With some people turn up and they just open their laptop and it's not going to work.
Well, you touched on earlier, when you were in leasing, you didn't get too emotionally invested and you just had to move on to the next one. And that's probably great advice for people, even that maybe you're in leasing now thinking, oh, they might be giving up, that they just have to get on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, that's like with life as well, though. You obviously, I unfortunately, because of the nature and because of the structure of the business where it is predominantly commission only, maybe a lot of people are looking at the commission, but you've got to stop thinking about that as well. At the end of the day, your advice is imperative to someone's decision, whether it be a seller, a landlord, a tenant, a buyer, and they're depending on you to give the right advice, to be transparent. And again, it's just like I say, you've got to have a plan B as well. Like obviously, sometimes plan A may not work, plan B will work out, and if it doesn't work out, you dust yourself off. We go again, and there's enough business out there. There's enough opportunity, and it's just having that positive mindset, and again, just work ethic.
We mentioned, Maddie, before we got into the conversation that you moved to Dubai in 2018. What advice would you give to someone we should say you were self-employed in the UK, you moved in 2018. For someone that's maybe in a similar path in the UK thinking of moving to Dubai, what advice would you give them? And you didn't, just to highlight, you didn't have real estate experience moving here? No. Yeah.
No, I didn't. The advice to anyone is, well, firstly, come over and respect the industry. Respect the people that are already out here, because there's a phenomenal amount of very good brokers who have been delivering for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And they're people that I've looked up to and other people, and they continue to deliver. Yeah. So this is what you're going up against. You are have to work as hard as you can and then some. Realistically, I think that the work ethic, and it's not like a lot of people just think that Dubai is made out of gold, and that we're just going to turn up and they see all this stuff on Instagram. And there is, don't get me wrong, there's an amazing opportunity. There's some incredible success stories, but there's a lot of failure out here, and you have to be ready for that. And then if there is a bit of failure, you don't give up. But without failure, you're never going to get success. So it's obviously learning to take failure as a positive as well, because it's going to get you to the next step.
When you left home, was it daunting to you at all?
Any move or getting out of your comfort zone, I guess, is daunting. I mean, even doing something like this, or I was on the radio recently, and again, it's getting out of that comfort zone, and it is daunting, but it's also exciting. And again, I was ready. I mean, I'd put it off for a number of years. First, like I said to you, my uncle was based out here from the early 80s. My cousin lived out here. My sister lived out here. So I'd been coming backwards and forwards from an early age. And I wanted a piece of it really from 2012 was when I was first thinking about it. But because I was self-employed, I had a business. I wasn't ready I was invested in that. And I wasn't quite ready to move over. And then by the time I came to 2018, I was ready and I was excited. And of course, when you do it, and obviously you're leaving your family, you're leaving friends, you're leaving your whole sort of life. But again, it's a very easy city to come to, and the opportunity just hasn't stopped.
Only a 6-hour flight from home.
Well, exactly. And I mean, again, as well, like if something doesn't work, like I say, you just dust yourself off, you start again, and you reapply yourself, or you try again. Like I say, there's some people that I know have been here, they've come out, they've started in one company, didn't quite work out, they've gone to another company and they've flourished. Some people that have come to leasing, didn't really work out, they've gone to another company and they've flourished. So again, there is always a plan B. I think someone always needs to be open to the plan B. And again, there's, I guess for our company, there's great support and there's a lot of guidance, and everyone's gone through these emotions as well. And it's just
that's the nice thing. Everyone's been there, haven't they?
But you have to overcome it. And I remember when I went first out and my battery ran out of my phone and I was getting lost in the road network here, and obviously went round the road thinking, and obviously I'm at the other end, and then I just, but these are all the hard yards that you sort of have to go through, and the experiences to put it back. And it's even like when Katie and we first moved into our first apartment in the marina, because we'd been in like short-term accommodation, like we set up, but the sofa delivery was we had a sofa, an old sofa, but the bed delivery was late. There was no AC in the flat, so we were both sharing an L-shaped sofa for 3 nights without any AC, cold water in the showers. But they're just good memories, and they're stuff that we love to look back at.
That when you move over here, don't you?
But you've got to. I mean, there's a lot of people that move here and they're living in a maid's room.
Yeah.
And then now some of them have bought these super homes, but that is the great story and the possibility that there is. And like all these people that you are seeing successful they didn't. They've done the hard yards and they did that. I started in leasing and I love talking about it. You know what I mean? So if I can do it, anyone else can.
And Matty, your phone is probably going off all the time from recruiters in Dubai, due to your success. But you stick with Espace. Why do you remain with Espace? You're now associate director.
It's been very rewarding. And now I'm able to say, I'm a homeowner out here. I've got a few other investments. I've had 2 babies out here, wife. So, and there is a feel I've got to build a great network within the company. I've got some very good friends and colleagues. And listen, and like I say, my journey and the trajectory has been one way, which is great. And obviously there will be challenges, no doubt, in the future and as the company continues to grow. But I've just been very excited to be a part of it. I mean, when I started, I was one of 60 brokers. There's now 160.
Yeah,
the
really
marketing
grown.
team, you've got there's the 5 of you now. It's going to expand. The photographers, the admin, the training team. So it's great to see. Obviously, we've got the brand new office. We've obviously got the previous office, which are both, at capacity. So it's exciting. And why would I want to leave? And again, it's like, don't get me wrong, there is opportunities, but it would have to be something breathtaking to really look and take.
Amazing. Matty, you mentioned you have some great colleagues in work, and some of those are probably some of the best agents in Dubai. Who do you admire the most in the office?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, listen, firstly, there is some great colleagues, and I've always liked to surround myself, even when I was younger, I always liked to hang around with older people. And I was always infatuated with people. You look at Archie, you look at Roberto, obviously Danny and I have worked tremendously closely to the Gil now, exactly. John Lyons, of course, they've all come in and been brokers. And I guess for me, Archie's done some breathtaking numbers. Yeah. 8 o'clock the next day he's in the office.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't stop. Roberto, the same, been doing this for over, 17, 18 years. Danny, has got an incredible database, and there's that hunger, that drive. And when I came over to the sales floor, there's a lot of people from leasing don't want to come into the team. There's too many people there. Okay. It's overwhelming. I'm never going to make it. But for me, I seen it as a great opportunity to be surrounded by all these great brokers. And obviously I rated and was confident what I was going to deliver. But I could help them, they could help me. And my success, obviously the trajectory of it, like I keep saying, is been great. But there's no way in the sales floor I could have been half as successful without doing deals with these other brokers. I mean, 80-90% of my deals are with other brokers.
Matty, real estate is known for its long hours, and you're obviously a big family man. How do you balance it? Or do you balance it?
Well, try to. It's hard. I mean, it's addictive. There's no doubt about it, like the job. And it's something that you find that you have to be involved and immersed in 110%, even more. Never know who's going to be on the phone call, the other end, and what it's going to lead to. Obviously, in the early days, I was definitely more work than social at a stage where I wasn't as keen to get distracted. But now with the family, with my 2 kids, like Saturday's my family day and that's it. And obviously, of course, I as well have a team around me that can help with viewings. It's stuff that we can always do. But I think you have to have that bit of strict family time. But of course, that family time reminds me why I'm doing it, why I'm working hard. And again, these little moments, like I was saying to you before off camera, like obviously I'm teaching my son Tide how to swim at the moment. Like those work drinks the other night, everyone's out getting pissed. I came here, I'd rather do that, and I love it. And again, it's important moments, precious moments. And it's like time you're never going to get back. So yeah, it's
exactly. Well, Matty, you've had a phenomenal career. What is next for you?
I don't think too far forward. I mean, obviously, from a personal level, there's different sort of opportunities, investments, both here in the UK that I'm looking at. But again, for me, it's just to continue growing, continue to get better. Obviously, now I've gone into a sort of more managerial role or a dual role. I'm trying to get as become the best manager I can and be a great addition to the team and help the company grow. And taking sort of one step at a time, really. Like the market continues to thrive.
It's exciting time to be
I mean,
here.
listen, there's not a better city in the world as far as I'm. So this place wants to get better, is getting better. The rest of the world sort of unfortunately continues to deteriorate. The region as well. Like, look what Ras Al Khaimah, Dubai, Qatar, Saudi. It's all flying, and it's exciting. And look at the weather, the lifestyle, the security. I don't have any worries with my family, my kids, and fingers crossed Dubai can can remain that and continue delivering what they are delivering.
Exactly. Okay, amazing. Well, listen, Matty, thank you so much for inviting us into your beautiful home and having a conversation with us. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and guys, stay tuned for episode 2. Thank you.
Thank you.